Hello.
Hello,
Ah,
hello. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Glad to
Fantastic. I
see you.
love technology.
Yes, I know. It's great when it works. Isn't that wonderful? All
Yes.
right. And we do have some people on right now. Hello there. So glad you could join us today. My name is Thelma Wells, the CEO of That a Girl and Friends Speakers Agency. They call me Mama T. Okay, and I really like that. So those of you on can call me Mama T. Today we are so excited because Jennifer Bagley is with us. And guess what? She is one of the world's gurus on women in leadership. So hello, Jennifer. We're just
Hello, Mama
delighted to
T.
see you there.
It's
Delighted,
fantastic.
delighted, delighted. All
You.
right. So we let me tell you a little bit about Mama T. For 30 more than 30 years, about 33 years, I've had my own companies. Yes, I have been very successful. And yes, I failed in a couple of them, okay? Because some of these issues that we're talking about today were issues that I had since 1978, okay? Some of the issues, of course, are dispelled because of my thoughts, because of actions and all. But Jennifer has so much information to share with us. So she and I are going to talk back and forth today. I'm going to ask her some questions that, even after 30 some odd years, I might have questions because life goes on wherever we are. Now, if you are a woman that has a business or stay at home mom, whatever, you are in leadership and you are on the right station right now. Okay? So whatever you do, be sure to listen, take notes, etc. Jennifer, I want you to
Yes.
tell them a little bit about who you are, what you've done, and then we're going to get into some discussion about women in leadership. Okay?
Fantastic. Absolutely. Thank you so much first for having me on the show, and thank you to all the guests that are watching live now, as well as everyone that's going to be watching the broadcast post go live. So thank you again. Well, I'm Jennifer Bagley, as Mama T explained, and I have an interesting history. I grew up and started in corporate America and went through the roof pretty quickly. I had a pretty slick way about graduating through corporate America and climbing that ladder as fast as possible. By the time I was 26, I was over six figures and in an executive position within the retail industry, supply chain management specifically. And realized very, very quickly this is not a life. At that point, I was a single mom with a 4-year-old and realized I was missing a lot of life. And that was his soccer games and t-ball and all of those things. And so I made a decision, and I had always had an entrepreneurial spirit to jump out on my own. And since then, I've opened multiple companies. But the main core business that we've been doing now for 11 years is CI Web Group, which is a digital marketing agency specializing in marketing. So after having opened and ran successful companies in mortgage and real estate, and we had a benefits program and so forth, I personally spent 10 years in corporate on the operations and technology and logistics side of the business and the finance side of the business, read a couple books that said everybody that makes money is in the sales and marketing side of the business, and realized very, very quickly as an entrepreneur the number one thing that we have to become is a marketer. And so I dove in and studied, created these groups and kind of petri dishes where I could study business owners and figure out what do they do, what do they not do, what are duplicate processes, redundancies, how do they leverage technology, and so forth. What is their mindset? How do they think? How do they manage their time? What do they do with their margin time? And since then, we've developed a multi-million-dollar digital marketing agency, and we spend our time helping other businesses transition through that process and grow their business, whether they're small, mid, or enterprise-sized company. Everything's the next step.
Absolutely. Thank you so very, very much. To give you a little background, because many people don't know who I am, I started really in industry. Well, I started actually teaching after I got out of college, and I taught a little while, and I discovered that was not my life's calling, Jennifer. And so, not on that level anyway.
You're
And
a
so I
teacher
went.
now. Many.
Yeah. And, and so I went into the banking industry, started really as an entry level person rose up in the banking industry very quickly to become assistant vice president of North Park National Bank, which is located in Dallas, Texas. Actually, it's Comerica Bank now because of the holding companies. Left there and went into industry with John Deere Company, as actually during that time, that was in the 60s, the first black person who was hired in a status position in the South with John Deere Company. All right. There are a lot of firsts in my life. And then when I left John Deere Company, I left because, ladies, there was no maternity leave during that era. Can you believe it? So I had to quit after getting pregnant with my last child and go back home and become a leader in my home. How about that? Did that for several years and then went back into industry, teaching for the American Institute of Banking. And from that stemmed my first book. My first book was an industry-specific book about banking. And then I wrote other books. In fact, I've written 34 books now, many of
Wow.
them about business, about speaking, and about life. About life. Now, that tells you a quick synopsis of who Thelma Wells is. But we want to get in to talk about who you can become, or questions perhaps that you are asking about leadership in this era where we are now. So I'm going to ask Jennifer if she will talk about some of the 4 challenges of leadership. Now, one of these challenges is, and I got this from the internet because I don't know everything. Do y'all know that? So, so
But you have access to everything.
I have access to every,
You
and
have,
that's a part of being a good leader. To know
yes.
where to find whatever it is you don't know. Let me say this about that. When I first started in business, well, it was my second business, we did not know a whole lot about starting businesses, about creating all of the forms and all this stuff. Well, we went to the Business Incubation Center, small business incubation center, where there was a lot of information, all the information really that we needed to assimilate, needed to understand. And we were able to take advantage of that in an environment of business that would foster business as well as leadership in those businesses and in our homes. And I just want to throw that out to you because almost every state that I know of has some kind of small business incubation center or
Hmm.
has a way that you can find whatever it is you don't know. But Jennifer, I want to ask you this question. What is it that creates us to not be cognizant of what career path we want? I mean, I've changed careers several times, always wanting better. So what about this uncertain career path that many of us are on right now?
Well, I mean that definitely stems to birth and parenting. I think we're born well and sometimes trained poorly. So it really we're in a position where things are often siloed, right? You go to school to learn business and profession and so forth. Your parents are talking about you about what do you want to be when you grow up. And I think there's a major disconnect between life and business when really it's a giant gray area, not a black and white line. And if you have a drive and you have clarity as far as what do you want in life, that's a predecessor to who do you want to be when you grow up. What do you want your life to look like? What's important to you? Is it family? Is it travel? Is it freedom? All too often you meet with business owners and you'll ask them, why did you get into business for yourself? And maybe they opened a restaurant or they opened a commercial inspection company, whatever that is. But when it comes down to why did you get into business, the business choices were actually life choices. It was what they wanted in life. And so you'll often hear things such as for freedom, more time with my family, the ability to choose where I spend my time, not to have to be ruled by the man. Whatever those reasons are, you'll notice that it's actually your personal soul that is creating that decision, and all too often the business choice is not in alignment with personal life needs, your quality of life, what's important to you. So you'll find yourself after 5 or 6 years in business wondering what happened because you find yourself weighted down, working 24 hours a day, stuck in a restaurant 24 hours a day, whatever that looks like. And really that's where unfulfillment comes in. The original decision was smart. It was based on what's fulfilling to you: time, freedom, family, and so forth. If those are your drivers, whatever those drivers are, you have to make sure that the technical aspects, the logistical aspects of the business, you have a very, very clear reality check. I call them blind spots. Many times we go into decisions and life with so many blind spots. It's like having a window and it's got these circles all over it. You can only see through small sections, and it takes someone else who has already removed that blind spot, who has already been through that process, who has already been where you want to go and further than you can see, to be able to help you to uncover those. That, to me, has everything to do with career choice or business choice or industry choice. What do you want ultimately? For me, I have complete clarity in what I want in life. And I make every decision professionally based on ensuring that I'm always, always feeding those drivers. And so I'm going to say it starts with complete clarity, and that has to be backed up because we're so mentally trained by so many other influences. At some point, you've got to have an outsider come in that can remove those blind spots and create more of a clearer picture. And then you go as far as you can see, and you'll see further.
You know what? One of the things that I did when I first started is I had those blind spots. I actually did not know what I really wanted to settle in and do. I knew what I enjoyed. I enjoyed talking. Hello there. I I grew up, talking in different situations, maybe at church or wherever. But I didn't really know that I could make a living talking. In fact, my mama said, I wouldn't pay you a dime to talk because you talk all the time. Well, it was somewhat confusing to me because I started two or three different businesses, and businesses that I had no real love for, that were not in line with what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Now, I'm going to say this to some of you who may be out there trying one thing and then the other. You might try it as I did in having a secretarial service because I had gotten a degree in secretarial science, and I thought I should be using my degree. Okay? Hated it. Didn't want to do it. Quit before I started almost. There were other things that I started too. Little wholesale things. I mean, little stuff. But it was not me. Jennifer, thank you. Thank you so much for confirming the fact that we have to do what we love. We will learn to do what we don't know what to do, but it has to be our lives. I call it our life calling, our life's mission. And so the question that I'm asking now is, what is your mission?
My mission. Well,
you don't have to answer that if you don't want to, but I'm asking everybody else.
No, I'm in. I said I'm all in. My mission is, and some people don't appreciate this as much as I do, but my mission is to provide myself, my family, and others in my life with the ability to choose, because we don't know what we're going to be when we grow up. I don't know. I don't know what 5 years from now looks like. Our life, the speed of life moves so fast, it's amazing. But I do know that for myself and for the people that are in my sphere, whether it's my customers or vendors or partners or strategic partners or friends, and most importantly, my family, I know that we want the freedom to choose and to make those choices. And so setting the right things in motion, putting the right systems in place, having the right mindset, having the right clarity, focusing on the right high leveraged activities to allow us to have the ability to choose who I want to be next year and who I want to be when I grow up. I am very, very intentional and very, very driven to create a lifestyle that allows me to have the ability to choose. And those who are interested in that, I tend to attract. You attract that which you are, not that which you want. So if you want something else, change who you are, and so forth.
That's good. My mission is somewhat ambiguous. However, it is to travel globally, extracting diamonds out of people's dust. Well, Thelma, what does that mean? Going everywhere I can, all over the world, encouraging, motivating, inspiring, empowering people to be their best at whatever they're doing. And that's my goal. That's my goal.
Love that. I love that.
Well, Jennifer, in order for us to reach our goals or whatever, What about managing this thing called family and life? I mean, life management was a question for me. Time management was a question for me for a long time. How can we do that and keep the quality of our business, our leadership, at the forefront also?
To me, this is simple. To many, it is not. Our life is made up of a handful of slices of pie, right? You have spiritual, family, friendship, financial, health, physical, social, and professional. Uh, if too much time is allocated to any one particular area, you may reach success in one particular area, fail in others. Therefore, the success in the area that you spent all that time in is now at compromise. So for me, it's about creating margin time, understanding. It's my brain, I have like a bullet point brain in many ways. So to me, it's a mathematical equation. There's 168 hours to deal with. You're going to spend 40 to 80 of them sleeping. You have X number of hours set aside for your personal maintenance and hygiene and working out and so forth. And you have a certain number of hours that you have to spend on high leverage activities that are going to help you obtain your life goals. So once it sets in, and for me it's easy to create a mathematical equation because I understand I can't manipulate time, but I can create more of it. So I am constantly looking for ways to get my margin time back. My margin time is spent with my fiance, with our children, with my family, traveling. We just got back from 3 months of travel over the holidays. We're only in town for maybe 2 months at a time. We're always on the road and so forth. So that time is important to me. I want that freedom. I love to travel. And I have a family that has the same passion. So margin time is created by outsourcing that which can be done by someone better than you or somebody that can do, or a task that can be done by anyone. So I am constantly looking for what are the things that can be done by anyone and what are the things that only I can do. I am the only person that can sleep in my bed at night. I'm not outsourcing that. However, I am
I love it.
outsourcing my lawn, my house, my cleaning, my Facebook posting, my blogging, my content writing, my financial management. I'm outsourcing anything and everything that I can. I'm always looking for, give me an hour back, give me an hour back. I want an hour back because I know exactly what are the things that only I can do, and that's my time. That's my margin time. That's where I want to spend. That's operating in the pocket. So the closer I can get to only being responsible for the things that only I can do, the rest is simple. The rest is simple.
Oh my goodness. You know what? You've just encouraged a lot of people out here. Let me say this to you. I was so busy doing the business of growing up in the business until my daughter had to pull my coattail. My youngest daughter was 14 years of age. I was in a meeting every day. Every night I was somewhere. I was on all the boards and I was on everything. I was Miss Hello Corporate America. Here I am. But guess what? I was starting out of my door one day, and my baby daughter pulled my coat and said, "Are you going to ever be here for anything I'm doing?" Wow. I got that dagger out of my bag. I made her a promise that I would, and I started doing some of those very same things that you just said. I started trying to find out how can I outsource a lot of this.
Yes.
Okay, I started really trying to practice at that time, and I didn't know it was called the Pareto principle, but I started trying to practice the Pareto principle. 20% of what I do should yield 80% of my success.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So what do you want to do then, ladies and leadership? You want to find the people, the places, the things, the institutions, the organizations, the resources that can help you do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if
Yep.
it means getting someone to clean your house, fine, you can't do everything. If it means preparing meals or having someone to prepare meals, put them in the freezer, take them out, and have your people know how to turn the microwave on. Okay,
Yes.
if it means having a mailbox somewhere where you can do the mailing and the everything else at the same place, and you know some of these companies that have that, whatever it takes for you to be able to do what? To live healthy. That's very important. A
Yes.
sick person can't do a whole lot, okay?
Hmm.
Okay, this is Mama T talking now. To live healthy in your mind, your body, your spirit, your experiences, your family. Family is so important. I love the fact that Jennifer's family travels together. I had to start taking my 14-year-old daughter to come to things with me. I would take her when I would teach. I would take her when I would do this, and I would reward her though for being such a good girl while Mama's up there working. So we need
Yeah.
to look at those things that can create the camaraderie in our families, in our communities, in whatever we're doing, to be able to have a clear head, to have a clear heart, to understand that what we're doing benefits not only us, but benefits our family and everybody else that we care about in work, at home, at school, at play. Ah,
Absolutely.
good, 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 good.
Ab-
Now, okay, now let me ask you something else. There is a thing about money. Money, 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 money. Anyway, and the thing about money is that it appears still that 23% of well, now this is how I want to say it, that over average, we get less than 23% of the top salaries women do. I'm talking about in the United States. Is that a fact? And how can we leverage? How can we ask for? How can we present ourselves as people who are equal to men in this society in terms of money?
well, um, I have I think this is a benefit as far as a mindset regarding money inequality and so forth, and the economy. I tend to, I have always said, I'm going to create my own economy, and this is my own economy, and this is my own planet. Therefore, any outside interpretations or um, issues or challenges, they're of no relevance to me. And it might sound bad, but it doesn't exist to me. In my world, it was never about I'm going to get paid less, or because I was 26 years old, a single mom with a mixed child in a corporation as an executive with all men in equal positions as me. Um, that I never used that as that to me it didn't matter. That didn't exist. I didn't see that. That wasn't something that was important to me. What was important is what is that guy doing? And how did he get there? And if I want to be there, I better walk 5 steps ahead to get there as fast as he did, which means I have to function as a vice president when I'm a director, and I'm going to move it
Mhm.
to vice president. When I'm a vice president and I want to move to president, I better function as a president in that role right then. It doesn't, and that it's my financial earnings are my choice. What I make is my choice. If I choose to go through the corporate environment, which I did, I chose to stay at one company. And when for 2 years, and when I transitioned, I increased my income by 20,000. I chose to stay, and that was at 22. I chose to stay there for 2 years. I chose to specialize. I handpicked leaders within the industry. So for me, I was in the retail industry and the supply chain. I picked Lisa Lichtenberg, Mary Lou Woods, and Shireen Hunsinger, which are three extremely powerful women. One was head of IT and finance for Federated Department Stores. The other was for the May Company, and the other was for Nordstrom. And I chose those women. I was almost a photo bomber in every single conference they were at. I was there. I shadowed them. I sat by them. I did anything. I read their papers. And we didn't have all this social media stuff, so I actually had to go to every single conference. I did anything I could to learn. And at that point, I was an entry-level person in corporate America. They took me under their wing. I think that I don't think it's an issue of that we're paid less. I think it's an issue of you have to be able to make a decision that A, you can get what you want, and B, you learn how to choose the right mentors. You learn
That's
how to
right.
listen to the right people. People are all too often asking Uncle Harry about how to make money. Uncle Harry's broke. Stop asking him. Stop asking the wrong people the right questions. So it's I mean, I saw women in powerful positions making a ton of money completely. Some of them were single, some had families, and they were doing it. And to me, it was never that I couldn't, or I was mistreated, or I was treated differently. It was, I see them doing it, I can do it too, period. And the rest didn't exist. So where you focus your intent, you will get more, right? If
Right.
I focus my energy and my brain around the fact that I'm paid less, guess what? I'm going to get paid less. If I focus my intent that I'm treated differently, guess what? I'm gonna I'm gonna be
Hmm.
treated differently. It is a fact, a fact, a fact. Where you focus your attention, you will increase whatever you're going to. It's gonna become greater. So for me, that didn't exist. For me, other women were doing it. I had to do it. I did it, and I'm doing it again. And
Uh-huh.
that's where I am.
Well, that's you're in a good place because you know what? I was asked on a television program, how do you see yourself such a successful woman when you are a black woman? That was an issue with the person who was interviewing me. And I said to him, number one, I don't see myself as a black woman. I see myself as a woman who happens to be black.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I see myself making as much money as I'm qualified to make, which I'm qualified to make as much as you. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I don't think you like my answer. But anyway, it's okay, okay because I concur with you wholeheartedly. What we think about most is what we will gravitate to.
What you will get.
Yeah. So in corporate America, when I was there, I was told that you are making more money than anybody else in this position. How did you do it? I said, I think, I speak, I act with authority, not with arrogance, not with arrogance, but with authority. I know who I am. So the question for us, I think, should be in this arena, how do you see yourself? Okay? What is not, I asked you before, what is your mission? But what is your vision? Do you see yourself at the top of the pay scale? If you do, learn what the people do that get the raises. Ask a man, if you will, who has got a lot of, they don't mind telling you. They really don't, because they're not nearly as secretive as we think they are. They don't mind telling you. There was a man that told me, his name is Roy Rhodes, took me to the dinner and said, where do you want to be in life? I didn't know. I really didn't know. But he challenged me. He said, how are you going to know when you get there if you don't know where you're going?
Mm-hmm.
And with that, and he said this, I don't want you to be mediocre. Whoa, that got my attention because I had never thought of myself as being mediocre. Never,
Mm-hmm.
ever, ever. But he said, if you stay where you are, not know what you're doing, not get with the right people who can show you what you're doing, not asking the right questions that can help you, you will be mediocre. And I will not accept that from you, Thelma Wells.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I was so excited about that. I mean, I was scared. Yes, I was frightened. But I said, okay, I'm going to take this challenge and I'm going to become who I dream of becoming, what I dream of. And having these companies, thank God they have always been successful, except that typing service, and I didn't even want that. You don't know what I mean. And so, didn't want that, didn't want that. Okay. So, so let's talk a little bit about role models, though. And you mentioned it just now, and I mentioned it with Roy Rhodes being a role model. There were other role models. Some of my role models came from the organizations that I joined who were already doing what I wanted to do. And so if I didn't know how to do, let's say, a contract or whatever, I would get in organizations that would teach you that. I would get around people I would ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. So Jennifer, if you out here cold turkey, okay, I know you're not, but if you are, how would you begin to mentor or create mentorships or collaboration of people that can help you move to where you want to go?
So I call this group my backyard. This is my backyard barbecue board. So I have a group of people in my life, and I consider we have a backyard barbecue, and this is my board of directors. Um, that's where I am now. In order to get there, as I mentioned before, you only have so much bandwidth. So unfortunately, your body is a vessel. Your time is a vessel, right? And many people think that when I get this, I'm going to let this go. It doesn't work that way. You have to, what I say, make a space. Which means before you try and bring on more, before you try and go after those mentorships and you go after those relationships and so forth, the very first thing you have to do is make room. And that means evaluating what occupies your time. And sometimes it's how you think, sometimes it's where you are, sometimes it's what you do, sometimes it's who you're with, sometimes it's who you're friends with, and so forth. But you have to make a space first. So in order to even be ready to create those relationships, you've got to make room. You have to have some emptiness to be able to fill it with some greatness, right? You've got to be able to have a place to plant those relationships. And then also it's about understanding, how do you secure a relationship with someone who is more powerful further? They've been trained. If they're here, they have been trained. The way to get there is to surround themselves with people who are further than they are in order to be able to continue to accelerate their life and their business, their financial position. So how do you convince someone that already has been mentally trained to seek greatness further than they are, to be able to back down, sounds bad, but it's reality, to where you are, to drag you on that path with them and pull them up? Which means you better be, oh, I almost said, I shouldn't say that. Okay, which means, I'm going to say something else. I'm figuring out how to reword this. You better get good at identifying what do people really want and get good at providing it with, this is do favors in advance. Give first. You have to get good at identifying, if I want Tony Jerry is my coach. He's a coach to the top 500 CEOs in the world, high achievers, leaders. He hangs out with Peter Thomas on their 150-foot yacht on a regular basis. It is what it is, right? How do I get his attention? Well, I was able to figure out, what does he want? Not what do I want for him. What does he want? And how can I play a role in him achieving what he wants without any expectations that he will ever return the favor?
That's right.
And that right there is first and foremost. You have to get your mind wrapped around, how can I bring unlimited value without any expectations of return? And that's hard, but that comes first. It comes first and foremost. Is and then it's about, you know, once you're in that position, and that's a big transition for most people. We're not taught to do that. We're taught to give one, take one. We're taught to, you know, equal exchange. I pay $1, I get a piece of gum, whatever that is. We're taught exchange. And it's not about exchange in that. And that's a tough transition. But once you get through that transition, then it's about putting yourself in a position to be self-aware that you are an empty vessel ready to learn. And that's another transition. You're taught in business, fake it till you make it. You got it, right? Which means you kind of walk around with, I've already been there, I've done this, I got this, I know what I'm doing, and so forth. I love the fact you said I don't know everything, but guess what? I can find it. so it is, you have to become an empty vessel, which means you have to have a level of self-awareness into your subconscious and how you think, what you believe, to even realize I have a window that's full of smoke and I've got to figure out how to get the smoke, which is those blind spots I've got to figure out. And that person's role in my life is to probably hurt my feelings and make me self-aware of things I didn't want to think about. I didn't want to think about that's a bad relationship. I didn't want to think about I shouldn't be spending my time there. I didn't want to think that financially the business that I chose was set up for failure from day one. Financially, I had a woman that came to me, she said, I want to be a photographer. And she said, and I want to sell prints. And I was like, what kind of conversation do you want to have? Do you want to have a very honest and upfront conversation because you bought all this equipment and you made a room and this is what you're doing? Or do you want to have a conversation that probably is not going to feel great? And that's tough. My coaches hurt my guts. Like,
Yeah.
And I love them for it. It hurts my soul, especially when you're so excited and you put all this energy into it and you go and you put money into it and you come and you bring it to them and you're like, look, and they're like, no.
Wrong answer. Oh.
I didn't want to hear that. And then, but it's getting out of the I'm going to defend why, clearing the space and letting them explain and going, oh, okay. This happens a lot. I'll give one more example. This happens a lot when I'm talking to people about leveraging technology to bend time, to create more margin time. And you'll have, when I stand up in front of an audience and you ask the entire audience, why are you currently not investing in the proper digital marketing strategy in order to grow your business? And they say, I don't have enough time. I can tell them what they're going to say. I can tell them every excuse that they're going to have. I can write them down for them. I could do a magic show with them. Say, this is what you wrote, time. Flip their charts. Everybody has time written down. However, they spend every moment of every day on sales conversations saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to only the people who they get an appointment with, and they had to drive all the way to Starbucks, get dressed up, have their fancy appointment, spend 3 hours on the road, only to repeat the same thing they said 7 times yesterday on phone conferences. When, in fact, there's an entire world of people that are interested in hearing what you have to say, but you're not digitizing it, so that message, you're not duplicating yourself. And people will even, in the same sentence, say, I wish I could duplicate me. I can't find more of me. But on the flip side, they're not going to record video. They're not going to write blog posts. They're not going to digitize or outsource their message in a digital format so it works for them while they sleep or go on a cruise. So that's my thoughts on that.
Oh, I love it. 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 In fact, I know now that you know that you're listening to one of the world's greatest gurus on leadership. Do you understand that? Her name is Jennifer Bagley. All right. Now, the thing of being sensitive and not necessarily authentic is something that bothers me about women. I've been involved in many things. We are so sensitive. We get our feelings hurt really, really bad. That's not a bad thing when it works like for you, Jennifer. But how in the world can women stop being so sensitive and stop being so afraid to share? You just said we were supposed to share. We do. If you give, you'll get. Okay. But know what to give, how to give, when to give,
and who to give it to.
and who to give it to. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
So what can we do? We're talking emotionally now. As women and leaders, how can we become more authentic about who we are, what we want, where we will be in this world that says, okay, I don't care what you want, but I want it too, in a dog-eat-dog world?
Yes.
How can we leverage that?
Oh gosh, that's tough. That is actually an open conversation in my household every day. Especially with our children. My fiance and I were literally just talking about this. The very first and most important thing a woman or anybody, there are emotionally driven men as well, definitely, but you have to have complete awareness that you have the right to choose how you feel.
Yes.
And that it's not about them. Someone can do something bad and that's fine. Someone can do something and you can make a statement that says, well, he hurt my feelings. No, you chose to have your feelings hurt.
That's right. That's right. Nobody can hurt your feelings without your cooperation.
No. And you hear emotionally charged statements, I would say, in about 80% of the conversations that are held when you listen to conversations. It's emotionally driven conversations. Emotion is good. Controlled emotion is better. And so until you have the ability to literally alter your feelings in that exact moment. For example, just what I said. Someone does something, your spouse, the worst, right? That's the one that it's emotionally draining. You have to have the ability and at least try, at least have a sense of awareness, at least be conscious about the fact that I, as a woman, as a man, have the ability to choose
Mhm.
how I feel right now.
Right now.
Right now. I can choose to say
Right.
I'm stressed. I can choose to say I'm exhausted. I can choose to say I'm tired. I can choose to say I'm mad. I choose not. In any given circumstance, I choose not to resolve to anything that removes me away from my intent in life, which is having the ability to choose,
Mhm.
right? And they're all wrapped together. And in order to do that, it requires a significant amount of understanding and self-awareness that the majority of what you think, how you feel, what you say, what your belief system is, was pre-programmed and not well maintained by yourself.
Mhm. That's
You
good.
have a
That's
tremendous
good.
amount of influences that have influenced you. And we have a 15-year-old and a 6-year-old. So the 15-year-old we bring over as friends, and we always ask, what do you believe? What do you feel? And then we ask, why?
Mhm.
And that's a big why. Why do you believe that? Well, because my parents did. Why do they believe that? Because my grandma did. I was like, okay, I'm going to need a different answer. So that's not going to work for me. I don't want that. I want to teach my child how to think. When I love it when we were on this last trip, we drove cross country to Seattle, Washington, to our houseboat there, and my son brought his $600, $700, $900, whatever it is, PS4, and he thought it broke because this little thing. And it was so interesting. We've had so many conversations with him about controlling emotions. It was so interesting to watch him sit back and internally breathe. And I was like, "What you doing?" He was like, "I'm not getting mad. I'm not upset. I'm not. I have a lot of stuff in me right now that could be really mad. However, I'm choosing not to." And you're just watching like it's pulling, right? Your guts are. That's that is that's that's first is realizing that you're just right. You're pre-programmed. You have all these wires that are all connected, and in order for you to get a different result, you have to change what you're doing. And in order to change what you're doing, you have to change how you think. And in order to change how you think, you have to freaking dissolve these wires. You have to like untangle them. At least try regularly every
That's
day.
right. That's right. Oh
So
dear.
that's my thought.
I had that conversation with myself about 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I found myself getting frustrated, agitated, aggravated, all those other eights. Okay.
Yep.
And I said, wait a minute, wait, hold it. Some things you've been holding too long. It is your responsibility to clear that out of your head. Other people have gone on, they're doing what their thing, whatever it is, and here you are talking in your head. Women, we talk in our heads too much about the
Yeah.
wrong thing, about the wrong things. We really do. Now this is Mama T talking, okay? Whatever you are angry about, I'm talking to myself too. Whatever has hurt you, whatever has stopped you from moving forward, it's your responsibility to take care of that for you in your own psyche. Okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, people don't make you mad. You decide to get mad based on how you feel about them or how you feel about yourself or how you feel about whatever, okay?
The decision.
When I'm working and I get interrupted during my work, that is a pet peeve for me. So I need to know to set perimeters before I begin to do these things that call for my time and let people know what I'm doing. People don't always know what you're doing. They don't always know what you're thinking. So I have had to learn. I'm 73 years old. I don't mind telling you that because I'm cute. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I love
But
you.
anyway, but but at this age, I find myself sometimes going to another side. All right, that side of emotionalism, that side of thinking I don't know whether I can do this. Okay, I have to talk to myself, and when I talk to myself, I'm pretty hard on myself.
Me
But guess
too.
what? I bounce back. I
Yeah.
bounce back. I
Mhm.
let people talk to me. I don't mind having advice by my children, by other people. I don't know everything. I know you thought I did, but I don't. I don't know everything. So I don't mind getting that counseling that I know is coming from a loving spirit, a loving heart. Those things I need to hear. Let's get over, ladies. being so emotional, and become authentic. Just
Yes,
be real.
absolutely. It is
Le-
a choice.
Leaders are real, okay? They really
And
are.
they're
Okay.
intentional. They don't get there. It's not
Yes.
by accident. They are intentional about the way that they think. They are
That's right.
intentional about controlling their emotions. They are intentional about how they spend their time. They're intentional. They're intentional. It's not by accident. It's not by luck. It's not by chance. It is
That's right.
they
That's
have
right.
complete clarity in what they want and where they're going, their ability to focus on only those high leverage activities that get them there, and their ability to execute with intention. That's
Hmm.
it.
Hmm. Oh, this is so good. Well, we only have just a few more minutes, but I want to ask you, Jennifer, is there anything in business that you are just aching to tell women who are leaders, whatever leadership role they have, how to do, what to do, when to do, and how to really revamp some of the things that they may be doing that are not keeping them successful or making them successful? It's your floor. All right, talk to them now.
So let's do this. We've had such a great conversation. What I'm going to say is let's recap very simply the things that we've covered and let's put them in order. So the first is having a very, very clear understanding that your subconscious rules 80 to 90% of what you do, what you feel, what you think, and you need to get a grip. That is your number one, first, most important relationship on this planet is going to be with yourself. And that's first.
Mhm.
Control how you think, control your thoughts. If it's positive, it moves you forward. If it's negative, it brings you backward. If it sits in the middle, just wait and go positive. Make a
Mhm.
choice.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's first. Second is have clarity in what you want in life and make sure that you focus on those activities in life that allow you to get closer to your goal and execute with intention. Next, we said your life is built of many pieces of pie, the puzzle. Any weight given too much area to one particular area of life for too long will put the others in jeopardy. If one of the others fails, it is going to impact your success. So always remember, life is made up of more things than just money. You've got to make sure that you're designing a life where every day feels like a weekend and that you have fun in life and the people that you're surrounded with. Next, learn to remove anything that anybody else can do and constantly make decisions in your life and investments in your life that allow you to focus your time and energy on the things that only you can do and get everything else off to somebody else's plate.
Mhm.
Remember, your health is based on what you don't have to worry about. So if
I
you
love
think
it.
about it, my health, my success is based on having a life that I don't have too many worries in. And
Mm,
that's so I
I
need
love
to
it.
get those things off of my plate.
Mhm.
Invest in technology to replicate yourself. You and your business are whether you're in corporate America and you need to position yourself to be found by the next company that's going to pick you up for another 20 grand a year or 50 grand a year, or whether you're a business owner that needs to have your message, your sales, your presentation, your vision, your mission in front of many, many people while you do something else, leverage technology to bend time. That's next. Get comfortable with technology. It's not going anywhere but up. Okay. So, and our last one was you are a sum of the people you surround yourself with. Pay very, very close attention, create an open vessel, make a space, get rid of all of those things that are not necessarily bringing you towards your life purpose and your life goal. Make a space, learn how to identify the right leaders in the right areas, choose the right mentors for the right things, and learn how to do favors in advance, which is give, find out what do they want, what do they need, and give it without expectation of anything in return. If you just focus on those things, that's a big list. That's a big,
It's a powerful list, so.
powerful list. Absolutely. Get the right guidance, definitely. And show up for these. Shoot, this is the motivation, the information. You got to hang around Mama T, that a girl speakers. This is This is it. You'll notice if you ever go to my website, it says learning, living, laughing, loving, and I am live. And
All
it means
right.
I'm live today. So constantly be learning. That's why you're here. I'm so happy all of you attended. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, thank you so much. You are just wonderful in many, 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 many ways. Thank you for giving the information that you did. And I invite each of you to hire Jennifer Bagley. Okay? I mean, you see what a guru she is, how she can help everybody from your top management people to your CEO to the people that are making decisions elsewhere. Thelma Wells is my name. The company name, though, is That A Girl Speakers Agency. Now, let me tell you, That A Girl and Friends Speakers Agency, for those of you who are wondering where the men are, we do have men also. So we want you to go on the website, look at what we're doing, and we want your business. We want to be able to come in and help transform your small business, your big business, your corporation, and all to become better than what it is. So you make billions. That's great. You need another billion. Let us help you. Let us help you. I'm Thelma Wells, That a Girl Speakers. You've listened to Jennifer Bagley, That a Girl Speaker. And we thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to sign up for every one of these because they're all going to be just as stimulating and informational as this one. Okay? Hope to see you next week or next month or whenever we show up. Go on the website, see where we are. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.